It is 2 o'clock in the morning. The house is completely silent, the lights are off, and your body is physically exhausted. Yet your mind is running a marathon at sprint speed. You are staring at the ceiling, aggressively dissecting a brief interaction you had earlier that day, or perhaps one you had 3 years ago. You are analyzing a subtle change in someone's tone of voice, a slightly delayed text message, or a passing comment that most people would have forgotten the instant it was spoken. To anyone else, these are meaningless, microscopic details, but to you, they are massive puzzles demanding to be solved. If you know this feeling intimately, you are caught in one of the most exhausting psychological cycles known to human beings, the overthinker's trap. Society often dismisses overthinking as merely a bad habit or simply worrying too much. But from a neurological and psychological standpoint, it is far more complex and far more deeply ingrained than that. Overthinking is not a conscious choice you make to torture yourself. It is your brain's sophisticated defense mechanism malfunctioning in real time. Today, we are going to tear apart the mechanics of the overthinking mind. We will explore exactly why your brain violently latches onto tiny details, why it refuses to let them go, and how understanding this psychological trap is the first and only step to finally breaking free from it. To understand why your brain obsesses over the smallest details, we must first look backward, deep into our evolutionary history. Your brain, with all its incredible complexity, has one primary overriding directive that supersedes absolutely everything else: keeping you alive. For our ancient ancestors, survival depended entirely on hypervigilance. If an early human failed to notice a slight rustle in the bushes, a faint change in the wind, or a minor shift in a predator's behavior, the consequence was not a momentary awkwardness. The consequence was death. The human brain evolved to be a hypersensitive threat detection machine. It is hardwired to constantly scan the environment for anomalies and potential dangers. The problem is that while our environment has evolved at a blindingly fast pace, our biological hardware has not. You are walking around with a prehistoric survival engine in a modern, largely safe world. Today, you do not have to worry about a saber-toothed tiger hiding in the grass. Instead, your brain's threat detection system latches onto a period at the end of a text message where there is usually an exclamation point. It latches onto a micro-expression on your boss's face during a meeting. It fixates on a friend who took exactly 3 hours longer than usual to reply to you. Your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, cannot tell the difference between a physical threat to your life and a perceived social threat to your ego or relationships. When you notice these tiny details, your brain sounds the internal alarm. It dumps cortisol and adrenaline into your system, compelling you to analyze the situation from every conceivable angle until you can determine if you are safe. You are not crazy for overanalyzing a simple text message. Your brain is simply executing an outdated survival program, desperately trying to protect you from a danger that does not actually exist. This leads us directly into the psychological core of the overthinker's trap, the dangerous illusion of control. Human beings have a deep, fundamental psychological need for certainty. We are terrified of the unknown, of unpredictability, and of vulnerability. The overthinking mind attempts to conquer this fear by treating every social interaction, every upcoming event, and every past mistake as a mathematical equation that can be solved with enough mental effort. We falsely equate rumination with problem solving. When you sit there agonizing over why someone looked at you a certain way, or plotting out exactly what you will say in a conversation tomorrow, your brain feels productive. You feel like you are actively doing something to prevent future pain or embarrassment. You believe that if you can just anticipate every single possible outcome, if you can map out every potential variable, you will never be caught off guard. You construct massive decision trees in your mind, playing out hypothetical scenarios, trying to insulate yourself from the unpredictable nature of life. But this is a devastating illusion. Problem solving is active. It leads to a concrete decision or a tangible change in behavior. Rumination, on the other hand, is a stagnant loop. It is spinning your tires in the mud while convincing yourself you are driving forward. By trying to prepare for every negative outcome, you actually end up suffering through all of them. The Roman philosopher Seneca brilliantly noted that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. By obsessively analyzing the small details to protect yourself from a hypothetical failure, you manufacture a very real, incredibly exhausting psychological torment in the present moment. Compounding this need for control is a psychological phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect. Discovered by a Russian psychologist in the 1920s, the Zeigarnik effect dictates that the human brain remembers uncompleted or interrupted tasks significantly better than completed ones. Your brain absolutely despises open loops. It demands closure, resolution, and neat endings. When a situation is clear and resolved, the brain neatly files it away in your memory and moves on. But when a situation is ambiguous, when there is a missing piece of information, a vague comment, or a detail that just does not quite fit the pattern, it creates a psychological open loop. Overthinkers are exceptionally sensitive to these open loops. When someone says, "We need to talk later," and offers no further context, they have just ripped open a massive cognitive loop in your mind. Because your brain hates this unresolved tension, it will immediately start generating data to fill in the blank spaces. And because of the brain's natural negativity bias, another evolutionary survival mechanism, it will almost exclusively fill those blanks with the worst-case scenarios. You will obsess over the tone, the timing, and the surrounding details, furiously trying to force closure where none currently exists. You analyze the small details not because you want to, but because your brain refuses to drop the subject until it feels the loop has been securely closed. It is a relentless, obsessive search for the missing puzzle piece in a puzzle that might not even exist in the first place. The final, and perhaps most destructive element of this trap is the sheer physical and mental toll it takes on you. The human brain consumes roughly 20% of the body's total energy. It is an energy-hungry organ. Conscious, deliberate thought requires a massive amount of metabolic resources. When you are caught in an overthinking loop, you are running your brain's engine at the absolute maximum speed while parked in the driveway. You are burning through your cognitive reserves, depleting your willpower, and exhausting your mental bandwidth on things that yield zero real-world results. This leads to a state of profound decision fatigue and paralysis by analysis. After a severe bout of overthinking, you often find it impossible to make simple choices, like what to eat. Your cognitive battery is completely drained. Overthinking robs you of your presence. While your physical body is sitting in the real world, your conscious mind is entirely trapped in an alternate dimension of hypotheticals and worst-case scenarios. You miss out on the actual lived experience of your life because you are too busy obsessing over tiny details. The only way to break this trap is to radically shift your relationship with your own thoughts. You must recognize that a thought is just a thought, not a confirmed fact. You must transition from passive rumination into physical action. Action is the ultimate antidote to the overthinking mind. It grounds you in reality, forcing your brain out of the hypothetical and into the tangible. When you stop analyzing and start taking imperfect action, you destroy the illusion of control and begin living in reality.